When she married her husband Eze, she became more popular because her husband was the richest businessman in the village who deals on quality wrappers, jewelries, and shoes. Every morning, there was a young girl who usually hawked orange. Her name was Obianuju. Obiadeli's co-wife loved Obianuju's orange because they were very ripe and sweet and has a lot of juice in it, unlike other orange sellers. So, she never fails to buy from her and soon she became Obianuju's special customer. Welcome to Chama's Folk Tales. Today's story is Obiadeli and Obianuju, the orange seller. Once upon a time, there lived a woman named Obiadeli who was married to a wealthy businessman named Eze. She also sells all kinds of food items at the village market, and her store is the biggest among other stores in the market, which made so many people to patronize her. Obiadeli was a woman who had passion for her business and would always put in her very best to make her business grow. And she was well known for that, and other market women fondly call her Obiadeliako. When she married her husband Eze, she became more popular because her husband was the richest businessman in the village who deals on quality wrappers, jewelries, and shoes. He was equally good in his business, which also made many people in and out of the village to patronize him. Obiadeli and her husband Eze were so blessed with wealth and good life except for one thing, which was a child. For many years, Obiadeli was unable to give birth to children, but despite being childless, Obiadeli never liked children. She was never bothered about her childless condition and was more concerned about her business. Though Obiadeli was not from her husband's village and had moved to her husband's village many years ago at the age of 18 before she met her husband Eze. Obiadeli was so rude to everyone, most especially to children. She looked down on people who were not up to her standard. One day, a poor woman begged Obiadeli to borrow her money and promised to pay her back as soon as possible. But Obiadeli gave her the insult of her life. "Did you give me money to keep for you? I should borrow you money to do what? And how would a poor beggar pay me back? Go and work and get paid. The position I am today, I did not beg for it, rather I worked for it. So you should do the same." Obiadeli would usually reply such people who had little or nothing. And one would wonder that Obiadeli, being a woman without a child to call her own for years, would be nice to children irrespective of their looks. But reverse was the case. Whenever children greet her or tried to play with her, she would always get irritated by them. She would always yell at them and push them away. One day, she saw children playing and she wondered and said within herself, now wow, God, this life is not balanced. Look at me, Obiadeli Ako, the woman that has the largest food store in the village, and a wife to the richest businessman also in this village, who has all the money to take care of thousands of children, is childless for years. Why these poor things are giving birth to children every month? To fiakwa, God forbid. Obiadeli would say. Her husband would always tell her, to treat all children equally and stop looking down on the poor ones, and she might be lucky to get pregnant through them. But Obiadeli would always say, God forbid, those poor things bless me with children. They are too poor for my liking. But that never made him to stop advising her to change her ways and thoughts towards the poor. On the 6th year of their marriage, of no issue, Eze, being a traditional man, got tired and married a second wife. And few years later, the second wife bore 3 children for Eze. Obiadeli never bothered about it. Rather, she would warn her co-wife and stepchildren never to come close to her. Listen, woman, the fact that you have 3 good-for-nothing children for my husband does not make you special. I'm still his first wife and first love, so you and your animals you call children should maintain your lane in this house, or you will have me to contend with. Stupid woman. Obiadeli said to her co-wife Nneka, you call yourself his first wife and love, when you don't have what it takes to be called a wife. You have money, yet you couldn't fulfill your duty as a wife. My children and I are not the cause of your childless condition and bittered mind. I know I'm the second wife, but I'm a woman with womb. What about you? Do you have a womb? Maybe God is punishing you for your past sins. Who knows? Barren, wealthy woman. First wife, my foot. One day and very soon, you will wake up and find yourself out of this house once our husband will will all his properties to my children and I. Nneka said and walked away, leaving Obiageli in random thoughts. Obiadeli was lost in thoughts and couldn't forget Nneka's last statement. One day and very soon, you will wake up and find yourself out of this house once our husband will all his properties to my children and I. Maybe God is punishing you for your past sins. Who knows? After many thoughts, Obiadeli confronted her husband Eze, telling him to will all his properties to her as his first wife. But her husband refused and told her that, my dear wife, Omalicham, you know I can't do that. I can only will little to you while the rest goes to my second wife and children. And she has every right to my properties per custom. And that is the main reason I told you to at least be nice to children. You never can tell where luck might come from, her husband said. But I'm your first wife and first love. We've been through a lot for many years before you married Nneka. And I should be given the largest percentage of your properties. Obiageli replied, my dear, traditions are not the way we say it. I'm a traditional man, and being my first wife is normal. But the woman who gave birth to my heir will automatically have the largest percentage of my properties. And you know all that. My hands are tied, and I can't go against our traditions, her husband said, and headed to his business that morning. Obiadeli was not satisfied with her husband's replies, and she decided to confirm from few elders who confirmed that her husband was saying the truth. However, the elders told her that if she is able to bear him a child before his death, his will be changed and she will get a larger percentage of her husband's wealth because she is the first wife. For the very first time of many years of their marriage, Obiadeli became very desperate to have a child. She visited many herbal doctors in order for her to get pregnant, but after many months of desperation, seeking for the fruit of the womb, Obiadeli was yet to get pregnant. One day, Obiadeli was heading to the market for her daily business as usual when an old woman approached her and begged her for alms, but Obiadeli was so irritated by the old woman. "You old witch, what is your problem this morning? Do you want to spoil my beautiful day with your bad luck? Don't you have work to do in your house? Do I look like your daughter? And must you beg for everything all the time?" Obiadeli hissed, and just as she was about to walk out on the old woman, "That which you seek for is around you, and until you find it, you will be able to get what you seek for." The old woman replied. For a moment, Obiadeli was paused, and when she tried to ask questions, the old woman disappeared right in front of her eyes. Oh my God! It was a dream after all. What was I thinking before going to bed? Obiadeli asked no one in particular. As she went back to sleep, the next morning, she kept thinking about what the old woman said. That which you seek for is around you, and until you find it, you will be able to get what you seek for. But what could that be? What is around me that I must find before I get what I seek for? She wondered. She told her friend, Mama Chi, about her encounter with the old woman in her dream the other night. Obiadeli, my friend, I don't know how to interpret dreams, but I know of an old wise man who can interpret it for you. Mama Chi, please take me to him, because ever since I had that dream, I've been restless. Please help your friend. Let me know where to start from, please. Obiadeli pleaded with her friend Mama Chi to take her to the old wise man, and a date was fixed for them to go see him. One Friday morning, Mama Chi and Obiadeli visited the old wise man, who interpreted her dreams for her. You have a child whom you have abandoned many years ago, and until you find her, welcome her back into your life. Only then would you conceive for your husband. The old wise man said to Obiadeli. Then she flashed back. What happened was that Obiadeli's parents were very poor, and they allowed greed to overshadow them when the most richest old man in the village came to seek for Obiadeli's hand in marriage as his fourth wife. And without thinking twice, her parents agreed and gave her out in marriage to an old man, because he promised to wipe poverty out of their lives and family. After 3 months of her marriage to the old man, she took him for him, and few months later she gave birth to a baby girl and ran away, abandoning the baby at the midwife's house, whom later handed the baby to her old husband to take care of her, and few years later he died of stroke, leaving the little baby in the care of her grandparents, Obiadeli's parents.